Good morning, everyone. I've just checked in at the Venetian, and now I'm going at the co-working space to settle down a bit and have a look at the agenda. So it's pretty crowded. As I said yesterday, I think more than 60,000 people are attending the conference, and I think tomorrow will be even more. It will be even more crowded. So pretty busy schedule for today. I'm gonna start with a migration talk about migration and accelerating the migrations. Then I'm gonna go at a session on tissue analysis when it comes to migrations, and then I might go to a session on building containers on AWS, and then an interesting session on Kubernetes anywhere for anyone. It's more focused towards the business side of Kubernetes and what are the benefits. So I've reached the MGM Grand, and now I'm looking for the conference room where the presentation is. I'm already like 10 minutes late. I had to take a bus, so super crowded here as well. So I spoke with some friends. They mentioned that if you don't have a reserved seat, walk-in it's not available. Last year it was, so definitely this year it's even more crowded. So for this edition, lesson learned, you need to be for a presentation like 45 minutes to 1 hour ahead. It's way more crowded. There are like 3 large venues. You spend a lot of time in the bus, moving from one session to another, from one venue to another. So yeah, hopefully I'm gonna catch the next one.
Are you moving everything to AWS, or are you leaving something behind? If you are leaving part of the application behind, probably you have to think about direct connect and edge computing.
So I had an interesting talk on calculating the TCO of a migration. When you're taking in consideration the total cost of the migration from on-premise, is not just the servers, it's like the energy, it's the data center management, it's data center operation, it's networking. And I think also it differs. The cost is different from country to country, from region to region. Like maybe in a country like US, definitely the cost of running a data center could be more expensive than running it in, let's say, Eastern Europe. So I think the calculators, like the automatic calculators, are good, but also you need to take in consideration particularities of a region. Now I'm going to another talk in Mandalay Bay. This time will be on containers. Alright, so started boarding in the shuttle for the Mandalay, for the Mandalay hotel, but it seems that the shuttle is not leaving anymore, so we might wait for another one. So I decided not to go to the Mandalay Bay session anymore because it was too crowded, and now I'm just going back to the Venetian, taking a short break while I do a bit of work, and then go to the next sessions. Here's a nice overview of the strip, passing from the Wynn to the Palazzo, which is connected then to the Venetian. So here it's the Content Hub. Getting ready for the first keynote of the conference. It will be on the technology that powers EC2 and all the AWS infrastructure.
So, welcome everybody. We're just singing some songs and playing some tunes, so feel free to jump up and sing along and dance or just sit there. It's fine. Whatever you want to do. It's cool.
Unlike a festival. Every keynote speaker uses his own band. So I think Peter DeSantis used his band for evening.
All the way down. Keep it going.
Vice President of AWS Utility Computing, Peter DeSantis.
Alright guys, so I'm now back in the hotel room. The first day of the AWS reInvent conference just ended. It was very crowded today. I missed 2 out of 3 or 5 sessions that I was planning to see, but nevertheless I got the most important one, at least for me. Today was a bit about Kubernetes and about data. They started with need for application modernization. At 80% of developer time is spent on operations and maintenance of applications, and only 20% it's actually spent on innovation. So what the customer needs to get to market fast, it needs a lower total cost of ownership, it needs high performance and scalability, and it needs security and isolation by design. Why containers? Because they're portable. It's everything you need to run on your application. Why? It provides infrastructure efficiency. They're very lightweight, high density. It provides performance, fast start and stop times, easy unit of scale, and it has operational efficiency. So you can focus on business logic instead of infrastructure. And why Kubernetes? Because it's easy, it's declarative and it's self-reconciling, and also it's flexible. It provides consistency. You have the same API regardless of where you want to scale. The ecosystem, it's pretty strong, so hundreds of solutions across the cloud-native ecosystem, and it's community-driven. And why to choose AWS for Kubernetes? Because it has been built upon a few set of principles, which I totally resonate with. It's security first. It's built for production. It has a seamless cloud integration with the entire ecosystem. It's native and upstream. That's the most important thing. And it's AWS. It's committed to open source. So what does security means? It means that they are doing security patching, including CVs under embargo, and EKS supports for Kubernetes version at a given time, follows upstream release and deprecation. So it means that it maintains for previous version of Kubernetes, even though they are not maintained by the open source community, they are still being securely patched by AWS. It supports automatic upgrades of worker nodes and control plane, and it has region spanning with high available architecture. Also, it's nice that it has a seamless, like EKS has a seamless cloud integration, means that it's integrated with like AMR or guard duty or like basic infrastructure services like EC2, of course. It's being integrated with KMS, and it's well integrated with IAM. Then it supports like queues like SQS and Dynamo and RDS, so it's super interesting. And also it's nice that you can run it top of Kubernetes. You can run like any cloud native tools. So you can run Istio, you can run Knative, Kubeflow, whatever. Another interesting thing is that like EKS now has EKS anywhere, so basically you can run it on your own infrastructure, you can run it on Outpost, you can run it on local zones, on regions, or even on wavelength, which is like infrastructure at the edge. I heard about Battle Rocket, which is an OS. Didn't heard about it. It's like a container optimized OS. So EKS supports Battle Rocket, supports Ubuntu, and supports Red Hat Enterprise. Again, I found a very interesting thing out of a Cloud Native Foundation survey, saying that more than 2/3 of the containers in the cloud run on AWS. That's super interesting. So what people are building on top of Kubernetes, on top of AWS, like legacy application modernization, they're running AI ML, they're running data processing, they're running like various backends for apps, for mobile, for IoT, they're running web apps. So yeah, that's about it. A lot of talks about Kubernetes. Super interesting to find out about Carpenter, which is a open source cost efficient compute for Kubernetes. Basically, it manages the nodes that are being provisioned. So it looks at your pods and see what type of what are their CPU requests, and you can configure Carpenter to choose any type of instances, like from x86 to ARM, that's Graviton, or to like spot instances, and it will create a pool of instances that will make sure will give you the best cost and the best will take care of like the density, how many pods are running on each node, so you can at the end of the day it's for you to have the best cost optimization when it comes to containerized workloads. So it's super interesting. Definitely, I recommend you to check. I saw like a live demo of Carpenter, so it was interesting. Basically, when you scale the pod, then it added instances. It chose automatically the best instances for that workload. Then you can update Carpenter and tell them, okay, you should use not just the x86, you should use ARM, and it was refreshing again the pool of instances to give you the best mix. And then if you scaled up, it added more nodes. If you scale down, it reduces the nodes and redistribute the pods in a automatically fashion. So that's super interesting. And yes, they spoke a bit about like the ACK, the AWS controller for Kubernetes. Basically, you can manage infrastructure from Kubernetes. So this is instead of like using Terraform to manage infrastructure, you can configure your infrastructure in a software-defined way, but from Kubernetes. So with this controller, with the ACK, basically you can run, you can manage GC2, you can manage CR, you can manage GCS, you can manage RDS, S3. So a lot of things. Then they spoke a bit about data. They're creating an open source pattern that help you deploy data workloads on EKS. So it has infrastructure as a code templates, it has performance benchmark reports, it has like AWS best practices for data workloads and deployment example and architectures. So yeah, that's super interesting. And then at the keynote with Peter DeSantis, who's managing like the hardware part of AWS, they introduced the new version of Nitro. And Nitro, it's like the chip that was proposally built by AWS to flow the networking and storage and instance management. So everything that it used to manage the EC2 instances is being managed by this chip. So instead of basically they're offloading a lot of things from the operating system towards that chip. So now they came up with a new version. Then they also released a new version of Graviton CPU. And one of the most important things is a change in the network topology. So instead of they're migrating from TCP to a multipath topology, and they created a protocol called SRD, and basically they're leveraging that protocol not just for like their internal data center networking, but also for storage and networking, and also for the network interface that you can install that you have on your EC2. Basically, it takes the TCP protocol and it puts it over this new protocol and increases the throughput. So if it's like on the traditional network interface, let's say if you had like 5 gigabytes of throughput, over this TCP, over this new protocol, gives you up to 5 times more throughput. So definitely it will be super interesting to see. So that's about it. I'll have to go now at a partner reception. Maybe I'll take some shots from there, depending on the light and the music. Otherwise, I'm saying goodbye and yeah, talk to you tomorrow.